Hello, welcome, you guys. Welcome to the show. I am Latrice Huff, career and leadership coach, and your manifesting guide to having the business and the business of your dreams with financial freedom, flexibility, family freedom. We want it all. And I am doing this series, and it's really on how women of color can have their dream business, how we can attract our dream clients, bring in enough money to be financially stable, and not just have flexibility, but to have true freedom. And if unless you've been living under a rock, you all have seen the staggering numbers of black women and women of color who have been leaving the workforce involuntarily, might I add, involuntarily. So, what I want to help you all do, and especially for today's live, is how to start a business using your expertise as a woman of color. And when I first started kind of, I was going to say, preaching about starting your own business, I had family members, I had friends, they were like, I don't want to do that. I can't find clients. Everybody doesn't want to start their own business. Now those same people are coming to me like, girl, so how did you start your business? How are you, being able to live off your business income? And I started my first business from my expertise. What are you already naturally good at? Right? So think about that. What are you already naturally good at? What do you already get paid to do? All right. And here's what an expertise is. Some people are like, Latrice, well, I have to have at least 10 years experience in something to be an expert. Not necessarily true. I've had people who came out of college, got their certification, maybe they have some education and some experience, and they were able to start a business. You just need to know more than the average person. Now, if you don't went to school for 6 years in something, you have a bachelor's degree, you have a master's degree, and you've been working in the workforce for 4 to 5 years, that is more than enough to consider yourself an expert. Okay. What I have mostly seen though, and from my clients, what I've noticed is that I have clients who have the degrees, the certification, the experience, the expertise, and still will be like, but I think I need more experience. I had a client, she had been in the workforce for 10 years doing the same thing, worked her way up to leadership. And I was like, you're ready. You are ready. So I want you to think about number one, what would you consider yourself an expert in? Okay. And your expertise doesn't necessarily have to be an expert. Think about that. But also, this is one of the things they used to say, what can you speak an hour about? Right? If you can speak an hour about something on a topic, one, you're probably passionate about it. Two, you know enough about it. And three, you've probably performed it in some way. So for me, when I started my business, I had been in human resources for nearly 10 years. Okay, so it made sense to me that I would go into career coaching. At first, I was looking into recruiting and I liked that, but I was like, do I want to continue to recruit? Right. So, not just something you're good at, but also what do you like to do? What do you like to do? Okay. I loved recruiting, but I didn't want to do it all the time professionally. What is it that you like to do? I love guiding and advising people, helping them with their business and with their career. So that was my passion. What is it about you? And here's the thing, I would bet most of us have three things. List at least one thing in the comments that you feel like you have an expertise in. It could be customer service, it could be process improvement, it could be project management, it could be human resources. Start again. Think about, what do you already get paid to do in the workforce or were getting paid to do? That's the easiest place to start. All right. What did you go to school for? What do you have a passion for? I have some things. I went to school for business, so I have a business degree. But I didn't start off business coaching. I started off career coaching. I loved it. Now I do business coaching and consulting, but that was something I worked my way to. What is it that you want to do? Think about what are you naturally good at? What do you already get paid to do? And then what do you like? What do you already like doing? What do you already like doing? Okay. And then I want you to think about this. Who would be your ideal client? Once you have that expertise, all right? So I'll share this. I think I did this live maybe like last week or the week before on how I helped my client get 10 clients in 2 months. So I had my client, she was a licensed psychotherapist. So she worked for a company where she was a therapist providing therapy services, and she wanted to start her own therapy business. All right. So an expertise based business. She's already an expert. She went to school. She had the certifications. She had the high level. She was a C, which was the clinical one. She was already supervising. Like she had all the credentials. She had been working in the workforce for over 10 years. She had everything. Her next step was she was like, Latrice, I don't know how to get clients. That's always the thing. You need it start. Here's the thing. If you have an idea for a business and you don't map out the path to make money, it's a hobby. It's a hobby. It's just something you like doing, which is okay. But we're talking about a business here. What is the path? How are you going to get clients? Let me know who this is. It's just showing as LinkedIn user. Show me who this. I don't know why on my system it's just showing LinkedIn user, but hey, let me know your name. But I want you to think about how you are going to get clients. Even before I started my business, this was the advice someone gave me. I had to sit down, I had to meditate, visualize, okay, how am I going to get clients? Who is my dream client that I want to attract? And then how am I going to get them? So many times, let me tell you what I see. Is when someone's ready to start their business, they're like, okay, I'm going to get an LLC. You need that. I'm going to get a bank account. You need that. And then they'll be like, I'm going to get a website. I'm going to get a logo. I'm going to get all this branding. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. How are you going to get clients? How are you going to get people to service? How are you going to get people to pay you? So there are some logistical things that you're going to need, and it can be state specific, but at the very minimum, hey Trina, hey, thank you. But at the very minimum, you're going to need like an LLC. You're going to need something in the background. You're going to need an LLC. I also recommend a PO box or a virtual PO box, and then you can call it a suite. Those are the logistics. You really only need probably 2 or 3 things. You don't necessarily always need a website first. You don't need a logo. You don't need a slogan. It's some things you don't need. I'm going to tell you all what you need to actually start your expert based business. You need to know who are your dream clients and how you're going to get them. That's it. If you don't know that, if you don't know that, again, you don't have a business. I had someone come to me. She's a friend of a friend, love her to death. And we had this conversation, and she was telling me about this business she was going to start. Such a great, unique idea. I was like, oh, this is brilliant. She had wrote 30 pages of like ideas, documents, how she was going to skip all these things. And I was like, okay, do you have a client yet? She was like, no. I was like, how are you getting like your first client? She was like, I didn't think about that yet. I'm going to do all these other things first. I was like, no, we gotta you gotta get the clients. You gotta know the path to get your clients. And she was like, but I have this 30-page business plan. I was like, girl, I don't know if you ever heard about the one-page business plan. I originally did all these things too. Went to business, again, business school, they teach you long 30. I think my business plan for a business I did not start actually was even longer than 30 pages. My marketing was like, it was crazy. When I started my real business, my actual business, I did this thing called the one-page business plan. Y'all can look at that one-page business plan. Simple thing ever. But you need to decide who is your ideal clients and how you're going to attract and enroll them. Right. This is something I help my clients with significantly because we don't always think about it. Right. And when I say attracting, I'm like, how are you going to get them to come to you? When you do this first, it alleviates a lot of the work. It alleviates you feeling like you have to do the work all the time. It alleviates the cycle of like, I'm doing the work, get clients, and I figure out or just losing money and running out of steam. Your business will not become enjoyable and profitable and give you freedom if it does not bring in the finances. I'm just going to be honest. And so many people, we don't want to talk about this. We have to talk about the money. We have to talk about the clients. How are you going to bring them in? Sometimes I hear people, they're like, well, I don't want to worry about the money. Don't worry about it. Plan for it. I'm like, you don't have to worry, but we do have to make a plan. We do have to make a plan. Okay. So truly think about this. One of the things I help my clients with is when we talk about the clients, I help them drill down to who is their dream client. And we work on attracting and enrolling those dream clients on a consistent basis. Here's the thing, and again, if you have to do this first. You have to do this up front. Even if, and I have people who are like, but I want to start a nonprofit. Okay, that go, we have a money aspect. Okay, how are you going to get funds in? How are you going to get donors? How is it going to be self-sustaining? You still need to pay your staff. You still need to eat. It cannot be 100%, even if it's 100% volunteers. I had someone, she was like, it's going to be 100% volunteers. Okay, you still have administrative costs. You still need to pay for the phones. You need to pay for the equipment. You need to pay for the copies. You need, like, how are you going to, in that case, the donors are your clients and the people you serve are also your clients too. Right? These are things you have to think about before you even start the business, and make sure it is something you will actually execute. And then I want to share this with you all. Coming up, if you're all like, Latrice, I'm loving this. I am actually sharing with you all the behind the scenes of me and how I manifested $40,000 in 1 month as a business owner, as a woman of color. I didn't do a launch. I didn't send all these crazy emails. I'm sharing with you all the exact strategies, the mindset, how I manifested, what I attracted to get this. And my whole thing is I like to attract dream clients, because dream clients will constantly provide you with, I would say, I hate to say infinite opportunities, but continuous opportunities. Okay. So that's why I'm like, you have to know who your dream clients are, how you're going to attract them. Okay. How you're going to generate that income, but also look at the other opportunities they can bring. And let me make this caveat before I move on. You're going to keep hearing me say dream clients, because you can get a client from anywhere, right? You do not want a client that's going to drain you. We want dream clients, okay? And if you all are interested in attending that free webinar, put pivot in the comments and we'll send you the link. I think we're doing it on, we just recently changed the date. We're doing it on April 16th. That's a Thursday. You can catch it live at 7 p.m. I think it's going to be like from 7 p.m. Eastern to like 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But put pivot in the comments and we'll send you that link. And you can enroll for absolutely free. I'm going to be giving you all more details of what I did, what I share with my clients, how to get consistent clients using manifestation, your mindset, and your messaging. Really simple formula about how to do it so that you're getting a consistent flow of clients into your business. Because, and I think we've all heard that Black women are the number one group to start businesses in America. Yes, we are also the number one group to close our businesses and go back to corporate as well. We also make the least amount of revenue in our businesses. So yes, we have this great stat that we start them, but we're not sustaining the business. Right? So I want to teach you on not just how to start, but how to have a sustainable business. To me, sustainable means freedom, it means flexibility, and it means the finances coming in. If we miss those things, then it's not sustainable, it's temporary. All right. And we want sustainable businesses so that way we decide if we want to go back into the workforce. I have been, how long have I had my business? Nearly 10 years. And I took my business from someone who was struggling. You guys, I was actually getting donations. And I'm sharing with you a lot of the mistakes I made. I wasn't charging people. I had this one lady literally was like, Latrice, she said she didn't feel comfortable in her spirit not paying me. And she was like, how can I pay you? And I was like, I don't know. She was like, how much should I pay you? I was like, whatever you think is fair. And she was like, girl, no. And she like sent me a check. She like mailed me a check. I thought she was mailing me a card. But I literally went from, starting my business, taking donations because I was too afraid to charge, didn't know how to get clients, and didn't know my worth, to running a multiple six-figure business and still having the flexibility and the freedom to pick my son up from school, to go on field trips, to volunteer. It's about sustainability, you guys, okay? So thank you. Oh, I see. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all some shout outs. Hey, Miss Trina. Hey, Miss Chris. Oh, and first of all, I love all the credentials behind your name. Yes. Let me know who this is. It's just telling me LinkedIn user. Yeah, I may have to look at my phone. Oh, hey, it's just telling me LinkedIn user. I may look at my phone. Hey, Nakia. Let me know if I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm saying Nakia. Let me know if I'm pronouncing it right. But all right, I want to share this with you guys too. So we know we need to decide, what are we good at, right? What are we good at? What comes natural to us? What do we already get paid to do? That is step one. And you should have three different things. It's no way y'all gonna tell me, you brilliant women with all these credentials, that you only have one expertise. I have at least three. Drill it down to one that you enjoy. All right. Two is, how are you going to attract and enroll clients? How are we going to get those clients? Number three, we have to talk money. And this is where I am. If I lose y'all here, just be like, just put a question mark, be like, Latrice, you're making me uncomfortable. It's okay. We about to snatch some edges. This is where pricing comes in. This is where the money comes in. Again, I was literally like, I don't know how much I should charge. Give me whatever you think is fair, right? Like literally people like, I don't feel right in my spirit. Like I'm making them feel bad because I'm refusing to take money for my business. You have to look at your business as a business, as something sustainable. So therefore we have to look at the finances. You have to look at your pricing. All right. I see people play with this as so much. And I'm going to tell you some mistakes that I've seen. They either price it too low, like me, I was at zero, too low. When your prices are too low, you actually attract the wrong type of clients. You actually attract the wrong type of people. Then I've seen people price it too high. I've seen some, I had a client and she was doing like a simple service, let's say like manicuring, but it wasn't that, but like manicuring. And she was like, I'm gonna be a premier, I'm gonna charge $1,700. And I was like, where are you getting this from? But what I've noticed from seeing client after client do that is it's a way of self-sabotage by protection, by charging too high. And when people say charge your worth, that is a very simple way. You can eventually get up to it, but I don't think you should start off charging like $2,700 for something very simple, right? If you have a coaching package, 2, 3,000, 4,000 is very appropriate. If you're doing a simple service, it may be something smaller. When it comes to pricing, I'm going to tell you all what I found is best. You want to do your actual research, and when I say research, not just asking Chat GPT. Go and really look what other people in your field who are comparable, not the exact competition, comparable what they're charging. Then you are going to look and see what feels good in your spirit. You have to think about yourself and your nervous system. Okay. And if you feel like something is too low or way too high, think about what would make it good for you. I always recommend starting with two things: a simple package, right? Something very basic, and then something more in depth packaging. One of the things I teach my clients is how to package their offers. You can package this and make more money. You can separate it and charge a lower amount that is comfortable for you. But when someone tells you a flat out rate, um, a coach, a guide online, and they know nothing about your business, nothing about your nervous system, nothing about who you are, it's not going to work for you. I've seen somebody, they was like, well, I saw this person online and they said I should charge $10,000. I was like, have you ever charged that much for a beginning service? They were like, no. I said, is your package what you would value at 10,000? They were like, no. I said, have you told anybody it was 10,000? They were like, no. It's like your nervous system can't handle that. We want to go slightly outside our comfort zone. We don't want to shock the crap out of our nervous system because then what we do is shut down. I am giving you all, honestly, I'm telling you all the real deal advice that I don't see people talking about online. They really don't talk about the nervous system, the energy, the fact that sometimes we can do things that will freeze us. What I also recommend, you have a simple offer, you have a more in-depth package. Incrementally raise your prices. That's what I did. I felt comfortable with it. Y'all, I was out here before when I was taking things for donations. Then I was doing, then it was $50. That don't even, don't, I want nobody come to me for no $50 service no more. We don't do that. Right. But it was 50. But then I incremented. And once I got used to that, I was able to take these large jumps and leaps. I have packages as high as 10,000 now. That is not my only package, right? My packages range. But yes, they go up to that amount. Okay. But it was a work in progress. What feels good to you? And then you're going to increase it because we want to, again, slightly outside of our comfort zone, not shock the crap out of our nervous system. All right. Let me know. You should be able to speak. You should be able to write the number down, speak it to me, and tell it to somebody else. If you can't do those three things, I'm not saying your prices are too high or too low. You need to work on it. Have them posted. You need to be comfortable with your pricing. Another way to backtrack, how much do you need to make? This helped solve a lot of my problems. I was like, if I got to pay the bills or it's certain things that I want to do for me and my child or a vacation that I want to take, what is it that you want to do? Start there and then you can reverse engineer as well. But pricing is delicate, but it needs to happen. It is not up to anyone else how much you charge, but you need to make a decision that you're comfortable with. And if you like, well, I want more, the best thing about having your own business, you don't have to ask anybody for a raise. When you decide, I should make more money, I've mastered this, I'm getting faster at this, you get to decide that you get to deserve a raise and just increase your prices. Okay. But we don't want to start off too low that we're resentful and we're attracting the wrong type of clients. And then we don't want to make it too high that we send our nervous system, to crap. Let me say this caveat though. I've noticed with additional confidence comes increases of rates. And depending who your clients are. Like I had a client and she wound up getting a $200,000 contract. And she was like, Latrice, it was because she had the confidence. We worked on her confidence and her packages to make it not just a 1 year, but a multi-year and show them how they were saving. And her clients were corporate clients. She had corporate clients. She had the confidence to offer them a multi-year contract. Wound up being a $200,000 contract. But she had been in business for a while. I'm sharing this so you all can see how it's done, but also the real numbers and the real type of business that you can have as a Black woman and a woman of color. Again, this is her expertise. This is what she's good at. My final tip, and then we're gonna round up. But let me know if you all have any questions while I'm kind of you say yes. Thank you, Nakia. While I'm kind of following up with this last tip, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I also want you all to think about, and this is how you're going to do the work. Okay. The actual work. Yes, this is your expertise, Also, keep in mind when you start your own business, you are the CEO, the COO, the CFO, the janitor, the maintenance, the secretary, the tech support, all of that, right? So, how are you going to do the work? Are you going to be the only person who does the work, or are you going to oversee someone who does the work? This is something a lot of my clients, when they first get into the business, they struggle with two things: um, getting those clients, and then who's going to do the work. Because the instinct is, I'm going to do it all. I'm gonna do it all. I can do it everything. I'm good at accounting. I can do my own finances. Like, I know HR. I can do some paperwork. Like, the instinct is, I can do it all, so I'm gonna do all the work. When we talk about not just a business, but a sustainable business, and I see this so much with I'm gonna call us out with Black women, that we are like, I can do it all. I don't need any help. One, it's not true. It shouldn't be true. And you deserve to be supported, and you deserve to have help. So, before, I was doing all my own resumes. I was doing everything for my website. I was hashtag everything. I realized, I was like, okay, the resumes were taking so long, it was bringing in a small portion of my income once I started coaching, that I was like, I can have someone else do this. I hired resume writers. It was the best thing. It took me a minute. Like, I had to train them and get to them to my own style. Not all of them even worked out. When I did have one that worked out, we've been together for years now, maybe going on 2 years. Greatest asset to my team. It freed me up so much, and it actually helped me increase my income because my output was so much more now. I have a virtual assistant. And again, you don't have to start off hiring all these people, and no one has to be full time. They can be per diem, they can be contract, they can be per project. Hiring yourself help could just mean, okay, I'm gonna have an accountant who do my taxes. All right. But think about, there's so much work that goes into your own business. You can focus on your expertise right now. You can be like, well, this is my expertise. I'm gonna do this. I can have somebody else do the emails. I can have somebody else um you know putting together the website. I can have somebody else doing the taxes and sending the forms into the county or the state every 3 months or something like that. Think about it. This is where I see the difference. I had someone tell me, they were like, I'm not going to start my own business because I heard having your own business is a 24/7 job. And I was like, it's not. They don't understand freedom and flexibility. And she was like, yeah, because you have to do everything. And I was like, but you don't. But a lot of people, this is the mentality. And there's a whole thing. Let me know if y'all want me to do this. I have a whole concept of, like, employee versus entrepreneur mindset. An employee mindset is like, I'm working, working, working. I have to do the work and work for every dollar. An entrepreneur mindset is like, no, I'm the strategist. I am the business owner. I can do this work, but I am the one who constructs how to make things more efficient. And I may not be the efficiency. I may not be efficient in everything. One of the things I tell my assistant is, I was like, don't let me be the bottleneck. Like, I don't want to be the bottleneck who holds things up. And sometimes I can be. That's how I know to get it off my plate. Starting off, you're going to do a lot of those roles, but you don't have to do every single thing all the time. One of my clients, and I'm going to do a whole post about this, but when she came to me, she was like, Latrice, I am not coming to you to help me increase my income. She was like, I'm coming to you because I'm exhausted. She was like, I have flexibility, but I don't have freedom. She was staying up till after midnight doing work. She had the flexibility to pick her child up, but because she was the only one doing all the work, if it didn't get done at that 12 o'clock time or 3 o'clock, then she was doing it at midnight. And she was like, hey, I was like, well, what do you really want to do? She was like, I want to take midday naps. I haven't had a nap in so long. I'm exhausted. I was like, okay, we're going to work this out on your calendar so that you can take naps. How can you be supported and get the work done without you doing everything? So you're stopping at 6 o'clock. And that's what we worked on. The result, she started taking midday naps 3 to 5 days a week. She was taking midday naps. She was able to block her calendar. She stopped working at 6 p.m. All the work was getting done because she had support, and she wound up doubling her revenue. She went from 100,000 to 200,000. This is a Black woman. She did this because now her output is doubled. Now she can have more clients because she has someone else helping her with the work. So think, even if it's not right at this moment, this is something you should be thinking about. If you're like, I'm going to do every single thing, that will probably only last you 2 or 3 months, to be honest. But there's software that'll help you do things, automations, AI. Doesn't always have to be another human being, but you do need to think about and plan for how you're going to get the work done. And it should not be all you. Again, you deserve to be supported. All right. Again, all right. Let me know if you all have any questions. I'm going through, it's a little bit of a lag. I'm seeing it like stop some. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you are like, Latrice, I want to come to this free workshop. It's how I manifested $40,000 in 1 month as a woman of color business owner. Again, just put pivot in the comments and we're going to send you that link. You just sign up. It's free and you can join me on Thursday, April 16th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Let me see. There we go. And then if you're watching the replay, or if you have any questions once this go off, just put them in the comment. I am going to be responding to all comments as well. And let me know if you all enjoyed this. If you all have any other topics, business topics that you want me to discuss on these lives, let me know. I love chatting with you all. I love seeing who's watching, who's joining us, and I love helping women of color have their dream business. You guys have a wonderful day and a wonderful week.